Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jalinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jalinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jalinski.
Financial Quarterback coming to you live, and I just downloaded the Clubhouse app, and it is really cool. I think it's going to revolutionize social media. It actually reminds me of the old WOR, where you would have a conversation. It's almost like the old original radio. So it's an audio form. So if you love this show, if you love the old school kind of live and local, you're going to love the Clubhouse app. So all you do now, it's like by invite only. So you have to download it and say that at Financial QB is I guess a friend of yours. I just started this, so I don't, I'm new to it. But you create these like chat rooms, but there's something addicting. It has the same feel that Facebook had when it first came out. It's not all, how would I say? It's not everybody fighting about politics. It's a different vibe. And I still don't know how to use it yet. But you can check me out at Financial QB. Download the Clubhouse app. But if you love the old school radio kind of show format, which I've always been an advocate of long form radio, long form YouTubes. We just started the YouTube channel, Is it at Josh Jalinski, the Financial Quarterback? What is our YouTube?
I think if you just go to YouTube and enter the Financial Quarterback or Josh Jalinski, it'll certainly come up.
Okay, so thank you, Ernesto. So Ernesto had a couple questions for me yesterday, and I thought they would be good questions to go through live on the show. But folks, as always, we love your questions. So think of Clubhouse is like this show. So people chime in, you have moderators, and you have people that kind of come and go and tune in and tune out, and then people talk. So go to the Financial Quarterback, and we're right now streaming live. Hit subscribe to the show. You can ask any question in the chat box. Ernesto will announce the question right now. And then Ernesto, you had a question from your mom. And then you had a question for yourself. So let's tackle those two questions. And then we'll go to, but this is how the Clubhouse app is. So just people talking. And they're saying that Twitter has this thing called Spaces. Have you tried that?
I haven't tried Spaces yet. No.
I've never gotten into Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at your Financial QB, but I don't know. For some reason, Twitter has always been, a mean place. I tend to not like it as much. So, Cal, make sure you're posting on our Twitter page every week. But Twitter is developing something called Spaces. Facebook is developing Faces, I think, as a cop-off of Clubhouse. But I don't know. I think people want something new. So I think this Clubhouse thing is here to stay. I mean, I've only been on it for like a couple hours. It's very addicting. Like a lot of people who, so far it's people who are pretending like they're business gurus and stuff. But you see these very genuine people kind of interspaced throughout. And people are growing their followers by like 68,000 over 2 months. So apparently it's a very major platform. So check me out. I don't give financial advice on there, but I will be giving tips. So, Ernesto, let's get do you have the question from your mom, or do I have to bring that up?
I have my question. I know that my mother had a question. My mother's a missionary in the Philippines, and she helps at-risk children and things like that. Yeah, she does great work. It's called Street Kids PM. But her question is, she wants to, even though she's in her upper 60s, she's looking at different types of insurance and as an investment. So that was the question she wanted me to ask you. What types of insurance for people in their late 60s should they get, or
in late
should
60s insurance? And David, thank you so much. Couldn't do the show every week without David. He's the unsung hero of the Financial Quarterback broadcast.
Delivering fresh coffee.
Without coffee, this show wouldn't exist. I can't go 7 days a week without coffee.
Well, you have 6 kids, so I mean,
6 kids.
When you have 6 kids, it's amazing.
7 days, millions under management, so it's quite fun. See, and then you get these notifications, and it's the one app that I have not denotified. So you got to go on here, Clubhouse. Check me out at Financial QB. So we'll get to Lee, Ernesto's mother's question. But first, we have a question from our listening audience, 800. So the question is basically, should someone in their late 60s do insurance?
Yes.
And if so, what type and all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Well, make sure she does it with us.
Of course.
We'll do it. We will give her a free consult because she's your mom. Any listener, we give a free consult. JJ, the CPA, said, well, why don't you charge like $500 for your consults? I might start eventually, but I always liked giving the first one free, because to me, dealing with financial matters is extremely sensitive. And there'll always be somebody who will do it for free the first few meetings. And to me, you have to build trust with someone or you will not do business with them from a financial perspective. So that's why we give away the first one free, I guess. But when you do insurance with us, we don't charge you a fee for that because we get a commission from the insurance company. And we disclose that. A lot of insurance people don't disclose that. But then we'll also go over Roths, IRAs, long-term care. For example, the Philippines with your mother, first thing, it's going to take a lot of research. Is she going to stay in the Philippines for her whole life?
She's not. And, she's an American citizen. And she's just chosen to spend extended periods of time there helping children out.
So if something happened to her financial health-wise, would she come back here?
Yes.
Because their health care is probably...
They have great doctors, the Philippines.
Yeah, all the doctors.
Highly educated, and, they have a great educational system. But just for family purposes, okay. she would come back here.
So would she come back around here?
She would come back to the Tom Zipper.
Why is that all important? Because I've learned with having family members who have had debilitating life illness, one of the good things about being in New Jersey is you have the Philly hospitals and you have the New York hospitals. I would not go to the Toms River hospitals if I had something major, but I guess our best one near us is Jersey Shore or Monmouth Medical. And then you go a little far north, you have Hackensack, Robert Wood Johnson, and then you have the New York City hospitals, which are generally second to none. You got a whole network there, or you have the Philly network. So we have Jim. So I'll answer Lee's question. We have Jim who wants to know about the stimulus bill. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
Jim.
Quick question. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Hi, go ahead, Jim.
Perfect. Yeah, the stimulus bill affects me greatly in that this year I made probably $10,000 less, and my AGI is somewhere in the neighborhood of about $154,000 this year. I just filed this week. I'm filing this week. I guess my question to you is, what's the best way to get my AGI down in order to qualify for the full amount regarding this stimulus package?
Well, how do you get your AGI down? One, you max out your 401k. You bring, and this kind of answers with your question of, Ernesto had a question of, well, what do people in the gig economy do? A lot of self-employeds, they're doing all these things and they're not building wealth. They have a high income. So what do? You max out your 401k. You max out your traditional IRA. Those will get your taxable income lower to help you maybe get government benefits, which this is great that we're talking about how we can all be more, try to get the stimulus, but hey, your tax dollars are going to be your tax payments are going to be like 60% in 10 years. So you might as well take advantage of what you can, right? So that's why I'm a big advocate of just having a lower, flatter tax system, 15% flat tax, and let you do whatever you want with your money. But that's not the tax plan we have. So what I would recommend is so are you trying to get your taxable income lower for 2020 or 2021?
Yeah. Yes, and largely because in 2019 I was at 161. So I'm trying to file as fast as possible.
And what's your taxable income now?
Well, I don't. My wife was on maternity. I'm a teacher too. My wife was on maternity, so I sent it out without really calculating it myself. But it's probably going to be around 152, 153. So I was trying to get that under 150 to qualify for the government package, obviously.
So the simple way now, philosophically, politically, I'm against people making 150 grand and getting government benefits. That's my own personal, and I'm sure you are too. It's a conservative radio station generally. But hey,
yes,
your tax dollars are paying for this. So you might as well be in line too. It's like people who, got all fed up with the PPP, that Kanye West got PPP money, and well, he didn't lay anybody off. You only got PPP money if you didn't lay people off who didn't go on the government doles. I thought that was the greatest government program ever conceived. A lot of people didn't agree with me. And I don't think Trump really understood how good it was, or else he would have promoted it more. He promoted a lot and sort of let the minutia to minutiae. But very simply, though, if you're at 153, you could max out your IRA and your wife's. So you drive your taxable income below 12 grand. You're at, the 140 number.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I can do that after the fact.
But check, very few things you can do after the fact. And this would be for you, Ernesto, as well. You can't go back and, if you're a teacher, up your 403B contribution. That's what you do this year although 403Bs have problems because of limited choice and higher fees generally in 403Bs. So when we return, I'll be back with the exciting conclusion to your question. But basically, I think your answer is simple. Just do a deductible IRA. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does.
For you and your wife.
Sure, I can do that after the fact.
Check with your CPA or accountant if you can take the deduction. There are some rules that you can't take a deduction if you have a company plan. Let's say you fall under that rule. Well, then your wife might be able to do a deductible IRA, which would drive your income from 153 to like 147. You're still below that 150 threshold. So we are here at the Financial Quarterback to help all of our clients. So that's a great question, though. Stimulus and IRAs and the interpolation. And also, what can you do retroactively? Pretty much the only thing most of you can do is the deductible IRAs or the Roth IRAs if you're in the gig economy. Do that for 2020. That goes for you, Ernesto, as well. And we'll get to Ernesto's question of what can people in the gig economy do. That's one thing you can do to drive your income lower. And if you're like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to set this up, call us. We have literally people here work 7 days a week at 888-988-JOSH. We are not like Chick-fil-A. I wish we were. We love God. But we, our Wednesday, our Sunday listeners often celebrate Shabbat, so this is the only time they listen to us. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jalinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jalinski.
Josh Jalinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
Which I am.
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jalinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Taking your calls on all matters financial. Check me out on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com, search for Josh Jalinski, subscribe, and we're taking your calls. We have Pat, who is a male. I love when they distinguish Pat from male or female, because, yeah, you could have Patricia or Patrick. Go ahead, Pat. He has a question on a fixed indexed annuity with an income rider. And then
Josh, I read your book, and I enjoyed it very much. But
well, thank you for reading my book. I want to have you on because as you're my guest for a second. There was a review I read from my book. I went on Amazon. I don't know if you saw this, Pat. And this guy, I think his name was Scheinman, great listener friend. I think he's commented on our posts. And he, he'll know who he is. He made the excellent comment that the publishers did not have my voice reading the book. That is a travesty. So I will eventually create I'm going to have to buy the rights back from the publisher, but in an effort to please Mr. Scheinman and to please myself. I mean, they had a wonderful voice actor, but people who were listening to my show for years thought I would be the voice actor, and I wasn't, because I did not make the tryout. They did not want me to read my own book.
How did you not make your own final cut?
I didn't have influence over that. The next book I write, I'm going to mandate that in my contract. So, because when a first-time author reads their own books, they sometimes read, I guess, in a stilted way or too. I think they thought my voice maybe was too slow, or these voice actors. I mean, the voice actor was very good. It just wasn't my voice. So you'd have people buy my audiobook for the purpose of hearing my voice because they like my voice, and they didn't get it. Isn't that funny, Pat? I'll tell you a little inside information.
That was funny.
So go ahead, Pat. Sorry.
Well, again, I thought it was very informative, but I do understand mostly. I understand how fixed index annuities work. What I didn't understand is that example you give of a fixed index annuity with an income rider. There's, I think, a gentleman who had $700,000 and took an income rider and then still had, a bunch of money left over. And I just kind of don't. I don't understand. Like, it's almost as if like the income rider just turns it into a regular annuity but I was hoping you could explain that because I'm sure I'm not getting it.
Yeah, and this is where I disagree. Did you hear yesterday's show with Professor Kotlikoff?
Not all of it, no.
So if you go back and listen, he's poo-pooing. We should have had a more thorough debate on this. It's funny. And we'll have him on again and debate paying off your house versus not. I'm a big advocate of not paying off your house and investing the difference. He's an advocate of paying off your house. We agreed if somebody had a lot of cash and they weren't going to invest it to pay off their house, I believe you should pay off all consumer debt. But let's take, for example, a 67-year-old putting $700,000 in an annuity, single. They put in $700,000. I just ran these quotes the other day. They would get $49,522 for life if they waited till 70 to take the money. That's a lot of money. That's an equivalent yield if you take $49,522 and you divide that into, so these are actual rates like today. You divide for a single person. Now, if you're joint, instead of getting 7% for life off the original deposit, it's like 6 or 6.5. The reason I prefer a fixed index annuity with an income rider over an immediate annuity, even for your missionary mom, Ernesto, is a lot of our listeners will have, let's say, $1 million or 500,000 or 200, whatever you have, or 5 million. It could be whatever amount. But there's a part of that money that they don't feel comfortable in the market. They're uncomfortable with Biden. Some were uncomfortable. I'm not trying to be political, 4 years ago with Trump. So they don't feel, for whatever reason, they don't want to put their whole nest egg in the market. So what do you do with money that you do not want in the market? There are these people who are pro-annuity and anti-annuity. I'm in neither camp. I like stocks and ETFs and index funds for long-term growth. And I like annuities for a lot of you who are scaredy cats, who do not want to invest your money to see it lose 40 or 50% because you believe the market's overvalued. Now, do I believe over 10 years the market will probably do better than annuity? Yes, but it's not what a lot of people do. We help a lot of middle-class wealth, people who never had anything and now they have $2 million. They never had anything and now they have $5 million. They've never had anything and they have $500,000. By the way, if you have 200,000 wealth people, have 50,000 wealth people. We have no problem helping people of any net worth category. But as far as fixed index annuities go with the income rider, a normal annuity, which is, I'm assuming what you're referring to, is an immediate annuity where you'd put money in and you'd get a stream of payments, and then when you die, the insurance company gets your money. That's called an immediate annuity. The beauty of the fixed index annuity with an income rider is when you die, the money goes to your heirs. Now, you usually get a little less income, so if you're getting, let's say, $49,000 with the fixed indexed annuity, you might get $54,000 with an immediate annuity if you deferred it for 3 years. So if you have no children, maybe you'd go with the immediate annuity. Or if your kids are doing fine and you just would have a little more income, you'd go with the immediate annuity. But a lot of people get scared off by those annuities because they don't want, even without, if you don't have kids, you don't want a company. It's sort of like, Ernesto, would you rather have your nephews, or do you have any nieces? I think you have
I
nephews
do.
and
Funny
nieces get the money, or would you rather the government get the money?
Oh, you know the answer to that. Give it to the nieces and nephews.
Would you rather have the nieces and nephews get the money or an insurance company?
Easy answer again. Definitely the family.
Even though you get more from an immediate annuity, it's sort of irrevocable. And people are skittish with their money right now. They're either greedy or they're fearful. And you have people buying hot stock tips, or you have people just locked in cash. And the other reason I like a fixed index annuity with an income rider over an immediate annuity is you can buy like a 7, 9, 8, or 10-year annuity. So if rates go higher in 7, 8, 9, or 10 years, you can bail on that product and do something else. And by the way, when I say 5-year annuity, 7, 8, 9, or 10, it means you have to hold it in there for those many years or else you get hit with a surrender charge. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get income. It just means that's how the insurance company profits. And sometimes there's an internal fee for the rider of around 1%. Any other questions on that, Pat?
Well, I just, again, I get that. I just don't quite understand where is the indexed to the indexing part of that come in. So
well, the income rider acts like the immediate annuity. Okay.
Right.
When you do a normal immediate annuity, there is no fee for that. It's just sort of an irrevocable decision. So there's 0 fees in an immediate annuity. With a fixed index annuity with an income rider, there's traditionally a rider fee, which is about 1%. That buys reinsurance so that if you live longer than life expectancy, the insurance company doesn't run out of money. The index component has to do with, think of it as like 2 engines in one car. You're right, they really have nothing to do with each other. When you buy an fixed index annuity with an income rider, there are 2 engines. There is the traditional immediate annuity engine, sort of like your gas engine, and then there's the electric engine that turns on. So the electric engine, so the gas engine is the traditional kind of immediate annuity approach. The electric engine is the indexing. So what happens is you index your money to the market. Let's say your index annuity has a 4% cap based on the S&P 500. If the S&P is up 10, you would make 4. If the S&P is down 10, you wouldn't lose anything on that money except a 1% fee. The fee is deducted from that. That is really what you would leave to your heirs or what you would leave to yourself if you wanted to pull out. So the electric engine has your walkaway value when the term commitment expires. Now, you could keep that 10-year annuity for life and get payments for as long as you live. Now, why do I mention that in the book? Because what happened a couple of years ago is still true today. The book came out, I don't know, about a year and a half ago now. People were very skittish of what do I do with my money. Do annuities have problems? Yes. Fees and surrender charges. But you're not putting all of your money in there. You'd have some cash, you'd have some stocks. It's really for the money that you don't want to have in the market long term. We are fee-based fiduciaries in the market. We are big believers in the market. But there are many people who are proponents of diversification. And they say, well, you're a moderate investor. You should have 60% of your money in stocks and 40% of your bonds. I want you to look up, if you have one of those advisors, look up what the bonds are earning. They're earning like 0 after fees, maybe 1%. Would you rather get 5% yield, 6% yield, 7% yield? Yes, I know you're not making that exactly, and the insurance company's making a profit and all that. But what is the utility on the money? If in this 700,000 example, the utility is 49,000 on a 9-year annuity is what I researched, that you could get income starting next month. I would rather have 49,000 on 700 grand than $7,000 a year in yield. So 49 versus 7. You know, I don't care that the insurance company's charging me a 1% fee. I don't care that they're holding the money for 9 years. That bond company, even though it's fully liquid, the bond ETF is not earning anything. But so many people who claim to be fiduciaries, meaning they act in the best interest of the company, they act in the best interest of the client and not their companies. All that means, fiduciary, is somebody charges you a fee and they disclose conflicts of interest. We do that. But you could have different beliefs and ideals that do not, in my mind, line up with the fiduciary. And to me, in some instances, it's better to do an annuity than a bond fund or a bond ETF. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. No, that yes. Makes sense. I just didn't. The way you explained it now makes sense. I just wasn't wrapping my head around it, like the difference, like because you know that it was essentially 2 parts in the same annuity.
So I'll put that in the remix when I do the second edition and I buy my rights back to the book. So writing your first book is a challenge because your editors don't really understand finance, and then they have deadlines that they have to meet. And we are fiduciaries, which means we act in your best interest. So call us 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages. Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH, it's a great thing to do. If you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jalinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH.
We're back taking your calls on all matters financial and 800-321-0710. And folks, call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH if you want the free retirement reality check. Interesting question on annuities with income riders. So your mother, by the way, Ernesto, talking about insurance, it would depend on her whole situation. So we'd invite her to come on in for our protection, savings, and growth review. So I'll go over the 27-point checklist and what she would need to do for me to feel comfortable with her doing an insurance policy or annuity or savings plan. Depends what her goals are. Are her goals more long-term wealth, legacy, long-term care? Like, what is she worried about?
She's not worried about long-term care. If she did need long-term care, the Philippines, if it were long-term care she needed, she would stay there. But
so she doesn't need to buy long-term care insurance, for example.
Correct.
They take care of their elderly there.
Yes, we certainly do. So no, she's curious about leaving a legacy behind. In the Philippines, she. Part of her passion is to teach impoverished Filipinos to build small businesses. And she's trying to put her own money where her own mouth is and say, you know what, I want to start investing in my future, even though she's in her 60s. Sure. That's her mindset.
No, and that's great. A lot of people, they listen and they go, Josh, I'm just starting out. I have no money. All you do is talk about concepts for rich people. In actuality, what someone gets to make $1 million is somewhat the same skills to make 100,000 or make 50. So I'd probably recommend a 2 or 3-fold approach. Build an emergency fund. Make sure she's putting away maybe $6,000-7,000 a year in a Roth. That would be her risk-based money. She could buy stocks, ETFs, index funds. Then maybe, I don't know how much she has to save, then that's where you might want to look at life insurance. And I remember the question was very related because she IM'd me or DM'd me on Facebook. And the basic gist of the question was like, I'm looking at cash value insurance. Is it a good investment? Something like that. I love cash value insurance, but for a different reason than most. I think there are many people, I've challenged Dave Ramsey to a debate going on for years because I think a lot of these talking heads that are anti-cash value insurance don't know what they're talking about. That being said, I would not buy that insurance from like Joe Smith, insurance agent, because your mother may be that person's mortgage payment. So you can structure an insurance policy the right way or the wrong way. So you want to make sure you structure it the right way. And we would educate you on how to do that. Well, what is the right way? Well, there is no right answer for anybody, but think of when you buy life insurance, think of, is it a seesaw, the children's thing where you have, so you can structure a policy where there's more death benefit and less cash value, or higher cash value and less death benefit. And that also changes the compensation. So generally, if there's higher cash value, there's less compensation to the advisor. If there is lower cash value, there's more compensation. But that doesn't matter. I mean, I have policies for my own life that have higher death benefit, and I have some policies that I have that are higher cash value. Why would you have a higher death benefit policy? Well, let's say she doesn't have a lot of money, and all she has is, let's say, $5,000 a year to invest, and she wants $100,000 to go to her foundation, that let's set up a charitable trust for her or something. Let's do something really cool for your mom and Matt, and do something really nice for them. Maybe we can set up some charity for them. That'd be cool. Yeah, let's do that. Where her legacy can go on. So what some people like about a high death benefit policy is if she puts $5,000 in this year and she dies next year, God forbid, $200,000 goes into the trust or the charity. So some people like a higher death benefit policy for that. But let's say she goes, your mother looks very healthy, looks like she's going to live till she's 100. But you never know. But let's say she's like, I'll live a long time and I want cash like a bank. Then you do a higher cash value, lower death benefit. It's going to take 10 years to really see that growth. But what I like about that type of structure is it is uninterrupted growth. There is no market crash. So over about 20 years, it grows by about 4% a year based on different studies. 4% tax-free is equal to about 7% taxable, 6% taxable, depending on what bracket she's in. And you have the Roth for her risky money, the insurance for a conservative, no bonds in the picture. I like that mix for her, and we could help her out with that. And this is true for any of you, even if you're just starting out, you're 50, you're 55, 65. I tried to get my mother 6 months in, and I think she would have done this had she not died tragically so many months after my dad passed. I tried to get her to save, and it was really exciting when my mom came in at like the age of 70 or 71 and tried to meet with me as a client. And it was she came with all of her bills, and we cut up her credit cards, and it was a nice thing. It gave a lot of satisfaction. So we as a firm will help you with $10 million, we'll help you with $2 million, we'll help you with $2,000. So call us 888-988-JOSH, and we could set it up for you, your retirement reality check. So then we have a question. We got Craig who wants an invite to Clubhouse. He says he dropped Twitter after they shut down accounts. Well, probably Clubhouse will be like that too, because I think some of the woke crowd is there. But I like it because it's just different. So check me out. Drop me a message on Facebook like Craig. He wants an invite. So I'll send you an invite, Craig, to Clubhouse. So I love this. We're kind of helping each other. People say, well, why do you do all this? You don't need to. I don't know. It's fun. I think if you're not out there, if you're not growing, you're dying. Right? So one of the things we did in March, when everybody was freaking out, jumping out of buildings, metaphorically, remember one time I got an email from a client, and she knows who she is. So I won't tell you her name. But she told me the story in March of her late uncle who killed himself in the Great Depression because he lost all of his money. So I got this email in March from a dear listener friend. So I was freaked out. Is she sending me a message here? My dear friend, she's going to be laughing now because we have a good laugh about it now. But I was a little worried, what are you doing, But a lot of people were worried in March, the world was ending. Gas masks in public, it was funny. I actually was more worried about COVID in March than I am now, because I thought it was, almost like biological warfare. So I was going around wearing those real plasticky kind of masks. And because even when you read a lot of the studies, if you don't have an N95, the masks work a little bit, but the real ones that work are the ones the doctors have. The cloth ones, are nominal in their effect. I mean, I guess it helps with the slowing of transmission. So instead of infecting 6 people, you infect 2. You're still infecting, if you don't have an N95, it's pretty difficult. And we still can't get on N95s. Remember that? I really want to be able to go to the store and buy an N95, not a KN95 made in China, by the way. So I want an N95 made by 3M. I still don't know what happened to them. Do you know what happened to the N95s?
I don't. No.
They're the only ones. I read some Harvard article that said the N95s are the ones that work for the reduction of the spread. And it found out that, guess how much millions Etsy sold of masks?
I would say $1 billion.
Yeah, nearly $1 billion. $750 million worth of homemade masks. So I'll tell you a story about what we did in March to help our listeners. But we got to take a break, so we'll be back. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jalinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan,
invite
but is it the
only.
right one?
Isn't
Josh
that cool?
Jalinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Well, I'm on Clubhouse now, the Clubhouse app at Financial QB. Follow me. Apparently I only have 1 follower so far. So it's probably your mom. No, well, you got to get by invite only. So look me up on Facebook, folks. Message me on Facebook, and I will invite you to the Clubhouse app. Still kind of figuring out how it works, but I'm loving the idea of it. It's just like a conversation. You have moderators. Although it's interesting, I was listening to one this morning, and it's like the old Sunday morning radio, really like what we do, where people call in, they have their questions, you have a moderator. Occasionally there's a jerk on there who's like some, guru, but most of the people are pretty humble, and it's a nice environment, So Sandy, go ahead. HSA accounts and overfunding the health savings account.
Good morning.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, Josh. I had a question regarding HSA and overfunding. My wife's 66. I'm 65. My wife is on Social Security. I did not sign up for Social Security. I'm working full time, and I have health insurance through my employer for both my wife and myself. And I didn't take myself to the Medicare Part A so that I could continue to contribute to the HSA. My question is, I want to make sure I don't overfund the account, is if since we have a high deductible health plan and I'm the owner of the HSA, am I still allowed to deduct or contribute, I should say, to the HSA in the family amount for both of us.
Well, you're not on Medicare, or you are on Medicare?
No, I am not. I am not, and purposely I did not.
Then you
sign
should
up
be
for
able
that.
to do the HSA because of that. So.
Right, I can, but my question is, can I do it for also for my wife, since she's taking Social Security, since I'm the owner of the HSA account?
That's a good question. I'll have to
I've been
research that.
Trying to research it, and it's kind of gray. That's
yeah,
why
I know. That's a. Well, if you remind me next week, I will try to ask that question. Send me an email. I'll send it to one of the guys we've had on the show, who's an expert on that. My hunch is you can do the HSA. It's your HSA, so you do the family amount, which is I think $7,100.
Correct.
I think you can do that because it's not a spousal HSA.
Right. That's why I want to make it clear that I'm the owner of the HSA account and my wife.
Now I want to be clear. I'm not giving you direct advice, but I
understand.
I would try to do it and see if they will tell you. Wouldn't HR say you can't do it?
No, my HR didn't say that. I just want to make sure when I file my taxes, because if I overfund it, then I'm paying a 6% penalty per year if somehow it gets kicked back to me down the road.
So the question is, can you overfund your HSA if your spouse is collecting? Your spouse is not a Medicare, though.
If you're on Social Security, automatically she's in Part A Medicare.
But she's not on any of the other ones.
No.
Okay.
And her health insurance is with me on a high deductible plan.
Well, this is a great question, one that I don't know the exact answer to. So I'm one of the only hosts who does live. I will venture to say you try to call the other talking heads. You won't get on live because they don't want to sound like an idiot and say, I don't know.
Okay.
Very rarely am I stumped. I'm stumped today.
Yeah, I've been researching this, and I've found a couple of things, and it seems to be gray, but I'm looking like it looks like I'm allowed to.
I think you are allowed to do it because, but Part A. So I think if you were getting Part A, you wouldn't be able to get it.
That's correct.
But because you're not getting Part A and it's your HSA, it's not hers, I would say yes. But I will, I'm going to relay this to somebody that knows, and you can remind me if I don't answer it in 2 weeks, okay? Remind me, Ernesto, to do some research on that. So, go ahead, sir.
On this?
Oh, what'd you say?
I said, is there an email or a phone number that I can follow up with you folks on this?
Yeah, well, you could email, just email david@jalinski.com.
Okay.
A reminder. He's good at following up with me.
Okay.
And then you could also call our office at 888-988-JOSH. If you don't hear it on the show in 2 weeks, I'll try to remember to give you the answer by next week.
Yeah, they don't make it easy to understand all this, and I try, like I say, doing research, and it's the one thing I found. It just said being eligible to contribute to the HSA is determined by the status of the HSA account holder, not the dependent of the account holder.
Well, then that's your answer. Where's that from?
Right, but it's not clear after that. It says if your spouse enrolls in Medicare, this does not automatically affect your ability to contribute.
Yeah, that's your answer.
Right, but it doesn't say that. But it doesn't say it's for me to contribute. It doesn't say that you can contribute for both.
No, that's your answer. There is no contribution for both. So when I have an HSA, I'm doing a family contribution. I think it's like $7,100. Yeah, so that's your answer there. Where'd you get that? Send me that, because that's the answer.
Oh God, I did so much research of finding this, but
that's your answer right there. So.
But.
Okay, I'm getting my accountant. Is he giving me an answer? No. My accountant just IM'd me. We have like a brain trust here at the Financial Quarterback. He says very clearly, if your spouse enrolls in Medicare and you have no dependents on your health plan, that's Tony McWilliams, smart guy, and you have no dependence on your health plan. The guy got a 1,600 on his SATs when that was the limit. Your HSA contribution limit will be 3,600. So it's not the full limit, but it's 3,600. Okay? That's from Tony McWilliams. So that's what I would do. He went to where I would go.
So he's saying that you can't do the family amount, but even though she's on my...
You're capped at 3,600. If your spouse enrolls in Medicare, you're still eligible for it and can contribute to an HSA because HSAs are individually owned. And you can use your HSA funds to pay for eligible expenses for your spouse, even though he or she isn't eligible. However, you can't pay for your spouse's Medicare premiums until you turn 65. So the limit is 3,600. If you were, I didn't even know he was listening. Tony and Tom, they're always watching, always listening. If you were covering your spouse on your health insurance plan before he or she enrolled in Medicare, you'll need to prorate your HSA contributions based on how many months you had family. So it's not as high as my limit. And then we'll take a short break. But thank you for the call. And if you need help, call us at 888-988-JOSH. I would still come in for a review, though, to make sure you're getting the best advice, because we are not giving you advice over the air. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jalinski.
Josh Jalinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jalinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
If you're a gig employee, folks, no matter who you are, I really want to be clear here. We're not giving financial advice over the radio show, so make sure you call us at 888-988-JOSH for a free 45-minute discovery call. That could be a phone call. It could be a Zoom webinar. Look me up on Clubhouse at Financial QB and go to our subscriber on YouTube. Now, you may love radio, but there will come a time when radio is killed by the video star or by apps like Clubhouse. So go over to YouTube and subscribe. Search for The Financial Quarterback. Now, we have somebody who has a question on the chat box, Ernesto, and Brother Ted. But Brother Ted is cut off. Isn't it time to move into energy stocks to play the post? Is that what he's saying? I can't. It's cut off. Do you see that?
I didn't see it.
Brother Ted has a question on energy stocks. Yeah, I think a lot of good dividend-paying energy stocks. I mean, gas is up almost $1, and will probably go up to $4 because we're constricting supply. So another middle-class tax at a time that we really can't afford it. So, folks, call us 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. There's also a 55 catch-up amount of an additional $1,000, so you could potentially go to $4,600 on the HSA. So call us now, 888-988-JOSH. There is no substitute for a one-on-one meeting with me and the team. Call us now, 888-988-JOSH. We have rare availability this week.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jalinski Advisory Group. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and Top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jalinski or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at www.jalinski.com. joshjalinski.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jalinski and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback, LLC.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York.
The eyes and ears to your world. We are the voice of New York. 710